Welcome to the Strategic Mind tutorial. In this operation, you'll learn how to deploy and move your troops, attack the enemy, and be victorious. If you're new to this genre and have not played many turn-based wargames, we advise you to complete all the tutorial operations. You can skip any message by clicking on it with the left mouse button. Units under your command are listed in the Units panel at the bottom of the screen. To the left you can find the mini-map, which will help you to quickly get your bearings in battle. All objects are marked with the corresponding color. Your units are green, allied units are blue, and the enemies are red. In the Units panel at the bottom of the screen, you can see the unit that is currently selected, the tank. Open its unit info screen by clicking. The unit info screen contains all the key data about the selected unit. Under the unit picture you can see its strength. Both the unit's health and damage output depend on the strength. The lower the strength, the less damage. The unit's combat parameters are listed at the top right corner. The higher they are, the better. With the mouse over the combat parameter, you will see a hint with a list of all bonuses and penalties to that parameter at the moment for this unit. Now click on the highlighted parameter. This is more detailed information on how this parameter works. Now close the tab. Right under the combat parameters, you can see the unit's equipment panel, and additional equipment that your units can employ. Underneath it, you can see the skills panel. There are a number of passive and active skills unique for every. The unit's class is indicated right above its picture. There you now close the unit info screen. It is high time for troops deployment. Every operation starts. Look at the highlighted hex. It is now deploy the rest of your troops. Great, now your army is ready to do battle. In the top left corner of the screen, you can see a list of your primary. Above, you can also see a victory progress bar. This bar indicates how. At the top right corner of the screen, you can find the command points button. Command points are used for troop embarkation on air, naval, or train transport. To the left, you can find the prestige button. Prestige is a resource you use to acquire more troops. Select the tank by clicking on it with your left mouse button. To the right in the unit actions panel, you can see the embarkation. The hexes where your unit can move to are highlighted. Now move your tank to the designated hex by clicking on it with the right mouse button. Usually, units can move and attack only once per turn. Select the infantry unit. As you can see, the infantry has fewer movement points than the tanks. To solve this problem, infantry can be equipped with a truck. Select the artillery unit and move it to the designated hex. Your troops have moved to an advantageous position and are ready to storm the city on your next turn. Now, your tank can already start firing at the enemy troops. Select the tank unit, move your mouse over the enemy unit, and when you see the cursor change to a target symbol, click on it with the right mouse button. All of your units have finished their turn. Click the. Ahead is the city occupied by the enemy troops. Onward. Move your infantry to the designated hex to identify the enemy forces. Select the artillery to make a preliminary bombardment of the enemy positions. Select the infantry unit again and attack the enemy in close combat. Select the tank and finish off the enemy unit. It is time your troops occupy the victory hex. It is marked with a golden color. Congratulations, you have successfully finished the operation. Now you have the victory screen in front of you. It presents a detailed breakdown of the operation. In the leftmost column, you can see the information on your. The central column has info. The rightmost columns have. You may have noticed that your results. So, you are back in action. Select the artillery and attack the enemy. Now proceed in a similar manner with the infantry and tank. All enemy units are defeated. Capture the hex where the enemy headquarters were located to complete the secondary objective. Brilliant. Click on the victory progress bar, and as you can see, you got the best result possible, 400 points. Good day, Commander. In this operation, we will go over the supply and infrastructure. In the previous part of this tutorial, we mentioned the key parameters of any infrastructure is represented by various facilities, such as. Later, we will tell you more about every type of infrastructure, but first, select the tank and attack the anti-aircraft gun defending the airfield. Great, now follow up with the infantry attack to finish it off. The enemy airfield is now left unprotected. Move the infantry inside and capture it. The airfield has been captured. Now we can move our aircraft units here. The airfield provides supply to aircraft units, restoring their ammo and fuel on every landing. Additionally, select the bomber and attack the enemy. After the attack, you can move your bomber 1 hex away in order to free space for the next attacking aircraft unit. Do it good. Now attack with the second bomber. The enemy unit is destroyed. Now we have to occupy the supply point. Use the infantry to make it happen. The supply point is in our hands. Unfortunately, it is severely damaged by our bombardment, so currently it does not provide supply. Open the supply point info screen by clicking on it with the middle mouse button. As you can see, all infrastructure has its own HP. If it goes down below 50% or lower, the facility ceases to function until its HP is restored and is higher than 50%. At the end of every turn, all infrastructure restores 20% HP. Close the info screen and select the supply point. In a 1 hex range around the selected infrastructure, there is a service zone, marked with the wrench icons. In these hexes, your units can acquire or change equipment and be reinforced. However, in our case, even after restoring its HP, the supply point will not provide supply, as it is not connected to the supply network. The supply network is comprised of all the interconnected supply hubs and maritime hubs play. You can also see the connections between the different elements of infrastructure marked with supply lines. These lines connect all infrastructure. To land your aircraft units on the airfield, select each of them and click on the landing button in the Unit Actions panel. Click on the End Turn button. Select the tank unit. In order to restore the supply, you have to capture the enemy seaport along with the maritime hub. First, however, cut off the enemy infantry at the eastern outpost from the supply. To do it, move your tank unit into the designated hex. Select the supply point of the eastern outpost. It is high time we take care of the coastal city. Select the infantry unit and move it to the designated hex. Now do the same with the 2nd infantry unit. Click on the End Turn button. The enemy has made an attempt to break through the blockade. Now select the supply point you have recently captured. Well, enough with this talk. To establish our own supply network, we have to occupy the seaport and the maritime hub. Also, we should not damage them too much. Click on the All tab next to the minimap to see all of your units in the Units panel at the bottom of the screen. Select the bomber and attack the enemy unit occupying the seaport. seaport now only has 6 HP left. If we keep bombarding it, it will stop providing supply and we'll have to wait for its restoration. So we should attack the infantry in the adjacent hex instead. Select the second bomber and attack the infantry, defending the. We have to finish off the enemy artillery first so that it will not provide fire support to the infantry unit. You can learn more about fire support mechanics in part 5 of the tutorial. Select your infantry and attack, and then occupy the seaport. Excellent. Now the enemy infantry is left without artillery support, and you have taken this located next to a seaport. It is time to finish this battle and re-establish our supply. Destroy the enemy with your 2nd infantry unit and occupy the maritime hub. Great, the primary objective is now accomplished. However, there's still a secondary objective left, to capture the eastern outpost. Click on the return to game. Great, the enemy was defeated. Now there's only 1 infantry unit left to deal with. All of your units have finished their turn. Click on the end turn button. Select your infantry unit. Now select the bomber. Select the tank and attack the infantry occupying the eastern outpost. The last of the enemy units has fallen. Now your troops are free to take the eastern outpost. Make it happen to conclude the operation. Congratulations, you've successfully finished the operation. Good day, Admiral. We are tasked with taking control of the island, which is of strategic importance to us. Your HQ flagship battleship. Right now, the island is controlled by enemy troops, who have to seize a seaport and an airfield to establish air superiority. And moreover, the enemy controls a. Before your arrival, our troops managed an enemy destroyer is blocking our seaport. It has to be sunk. Choose the battleship by moving the cursor over it and left-clicking. Each ship is fitted with various guns, which have a. Move the mouse over the enemy destroyer and left-click on it to attack. Naval units can attack with their guns twice per turn. Attack the destroyer with the main gun for the 2nd time. Apart from the main gun, the battleship has artillery of a lesser range. The 2nd gun. To fire it, you have to get closer to the enemy destroyer. Select 2nd gun. Fire at the destroyer. 1 more volley. The enemy destroyer is damaged, but remains afloat. Let's move it within firing range of the enemy vessel. Attack the enemy. Great, you've sunk the first enemy ship. Now our seaport is no longer blocked and our ships located within a supply range will be automatically supplied with. Press the end turn button. We are under attack by the enemy fleet. It has to be destroyed. The destroyer is a difficult target for the aircraft. It provides fire support against air. Open the unit info screen. As you can see, every vessel has a number of ship parts. In this case, the destroyer has main gun, torpedo tube, anti-aircraft gun, depth charge, engine, and the hull. The overall durability of the ship is called total HP, and it is the sum of all incoming damage is divided among different ship parts, reducing their durability and effectiveness. However, the hull cannot be repaired in any way until the ship's current maximum move points is added to all ship defense. Close the unit info screen. Select the emergency repair. With its help, you can quickly remove one shell hole. The engine is now fully operational. That means the ship can move again and its defenses are higher. It is time to disengage our destroyer and move it away at a safe distance from the enemy fleet. The enemy bombers are still threatening our fleet. It is time to eliminate them. Select your battleship. Select its anti-aircraft artillery. Fire 2 times at the enemy bomber. Excellent. Now it is time we carry out a retaliation strike against the enemy fleet. However, we have to ensure our battleship has more effective ammunition. Open the unit info screen. Left click on the equipment tab. The first equipment slot is now select the armor piercing ship. Press the acquire button. Close the unit info screen. Now activate the armor piercing ship. Cannot attack the enemy. Fire. Once again. One more enemy vessel sunk. However, this time the distance allowed the enemy to open return fire. We have to evaluate the damage. As you can see, its anti-aircraft gun and second gun were damaged. Note that the engine, the hull, and the main gun are unscathed. Destroyer's artillery. Close the unit info screen. Now select the submarine. Bring it closer to the enemy battleship. Attack the battleship. Your submarine has just performed a successful torpedo attack. Let's look at the results. Select the enemy battleship. Open its unit info screen. Scroll down to see the bottom row of icons. Torpedoes deal the less move points the ship has. Close the unit info screen. It is time we conduct an airstrike. The main weapon of the carrier. Open the unit info screen. Select the equipment tab. Select the incendiary bomb. Press the acquire button. Close the unit info screen. Activate the incendiary bombs. Now attack the enemy battleship with your dive bomb. Dive bombers can choose to attack specific ship parts of the enemy vessel. Right now, we better weaken the battleship's anti-aircraft guns. Select its anti-aircraft gun to attack. Move your bomber to an adjacent hex to free up space for the next aircraft attack. Having destroyed the enemy you can attack with torpedoes from an adjacent hex. However, if you drop it from the same hex as your target, the damage will be higher. Move your torpedo bomber into the hex with the enemy battleship. Attack the enemy vessel. Move your bomber to an adjacent hex. To free up space, select the next torpedo bomber. Move your torpedo bomber into the hex with the enemy battleship. Attack the battleship. Move your bomber to an adjacent hex. To free up space, select the next torpedo bomber. Move your torpedo bomber into the hex with the enemy battleship. Attack the battleship. Sinking the battleship is no easy task, but you did it. The enemy fleet is destroyed. For destroying enemy units, you have opened the Acquire Units tab. Press the Acquire button. Close the tab. Now let's deploy the newly acquired destroyer. New units can be deploy it into the specified hex. Press the Enter button. Our battleship was torpedoed. Apparently an enemy submarine is nearby. Move it to the location where the torpedo attack was carried out. Use sonar. Nothing. The enemy submarine probably left this location right after the attack, but it could not retreat far. We have to continue the search. Select the newly acquired destroyer. Bring it to the assumed location of the enemy submarine. Use sonar again. This time, we're going to find it for sure. Enemy submarine located. Select the depth charge and attack it. Attack it with the depth charge again. Now select torpedoes and attack again. Because of the nighttime, all units' damage is greatly reduced. The cunning nighttime imposes a significant penalty to all attacks. However, this torpedo bomber is equipped with radar, which reduces the nighttime penalty. Launch torpedo. The enemy submarine has been sunk. Below the unit picture you can see, now land your aircraft on a carrier. To do that, press the fly to the nearest airfield or carrier button. Open the unit info screen again. Look, the damaged planes are restored and now your other torpedo bombers, which is bring it next to the torpedo bombers. Select each of the torpedo bombers and order them to fly to the nearest airfield. In the case of carrier-based aviation, the carriers act as the mobile airfields. Our next task is to capture the enemy island. First, we have to scout the enemy. Select the seaplane. Now launch it. Send the seaplane to scout the area around the enemy-controlled island. Reconnaissance has detected the enemy forces beyond the island. We have to get better information about the enemy. Select the air recon skill. Send the reconnaissance plane to scout the enemy forces. Note that it flies 3 hexes, scouting the area around them. With the help of reconnaissance, the enemy force. Unfortunately, your fighter aircraft are not equipped. Move it next to the enemy units. Do not worry, it'll be difficult for the enemy to locate your carrier at night. Press the Enter button. Fighter aircraft cover prevents us from attacking the carrier with aircraft. Moreover, two fighter aircraft next to each other. First, you should weaken the enemy units by bring it closer to the enemy aircraft. Select its anti-aircraft gun. Attack the enemy fighter plane located above the carrier. Repeat the attack. The carrier's main gun is a dual. Attack the enemy fighter. Once again. Now we can finish off the enemy. Open its unit info screen. Select the level up tab. Select the link to fight. Press the level up button. Close the unit info screen. Now activate the newly learned skill. Launch your aircraft. Link the enemy fighter in the aerial combat. Select the second fighter. Open its unit info screen. Select the level up tab. Select the boom and zoom. Press the level up button. Close the unit info screen. Now activate the boom and zoom skill. Launch the aircraft. Attack the enemy fighter. Select your last fighter. Open its unit info screen. Select the level up. Select the boom and zoom. Press the level up button. Close the unit info screen. Activate the boom and zoom skill on the unit. Launch the aircraft. Attack the enemy fighter. To sink the enemy carrier, move it next to the enemy carrier and attack it with torpedoes. It is better to rearm. Select the dive bomber. Open its unit info screen. Select the equipment tab. Select the armor piercing. Press the acquire button. Now the bomber received the armor. Activate the armor piercing bombs. Attack the enemy carrier. Instead of choosing any individual ship part, select an ordinary attack to maximize the damage to the hull. Move aircraft to the side. It is time for our main strike. Move it right next to the carrier. Attack with the torpedo. Move the aircraft away. Select the second torpedo bomb. Move it next to the carrier. Launch the torpedo. Excellent. The enemy carrier has been sunk. We have to continue with the invasion of the... Move it closer to the island and send the reconnaissance seaplane to scout the coast. As you can see, the enemy unit... Select the battleship again. Choose the second gun and bombard the enemy infantry twice. Select the main gun and destroy the infantry. The enemy unit is destroyed. Now we have to capture the Marine squad aboard the battleship is too little for a serious assault. However, it can quickly occupy coastal infrastructure once the enemy resistance has been put to an end. Land the Marine squad at the seaport. Capture the maritime hub. Congratulations! The time has come for the invasion of our landing force. Due to being linked in the fight, the enemy fighter did not move on his turn. Finish it off with your fighter using the boom and zoom skill. Conduct air reconnaissance of the island. The air reconnaissance was prevented. Select the fighter aircraft and activate the Overwatch breakthrough skill. Then activate the Now attack the enemy anti-aircraft unit. As you can see, the enemy AA gun attacked our aircraft and stopped its movement. However, due to the Overwatch breakthrough skill, the aircraft can now continue the movement and carry out an attack. Command it to attack the enemy AA gun. If the fighter moved and attacked a ground unit, it can then move aside to allow other aircraft to attack the same target. Move your fighter to the side. Select the enemy anti-aircraft unit and open its unit info screen. Note that the Overwatch air skill is now crossed. Attack the AA unit with your second fighter, and do not forget to use the afterburner skill to reduce the damage from the enemy fire. Now we have to invade the island with our troops and fighting force. The infantry without heavy equipment can land on the following types of terrain. Press the disembarkation. Select the nearby hex with shallows terrain. Enter the city with your marines and attack the enemy anti-aircraft gun. Being left without the combat-ready soldiers, the enemy unit has retreated. If we attack it again, it'll be destroyed or will surrender. Note that after defeating the enemy in close combat, heavy units can disembark only at a... Select the transport ship with artillery. You can disembark your troops in any hex adjacent to a seaport. Since the artillery has attacked the enemy infantry at an airfield. Our artillery has damaged not only the infantry, but also we have to redeploy our infantry unit from our base to the front lines. Select the infantry unit. Because the unit does not have any heavy equipment or ground, board the seaplane. Then move the seaplane to the island occupied by the enemy. Then land your troops in shallows. Your unit does not have enough move points left to attack the enemy infantry. Level up your unit and learn forced march skill like you did with the aircraft. Excellent. Now activate the newly learned skill, move next to the enemy unit, and attack it. Let's continue with the offense. Bring it closer to the seaport and conduct the landing. Move your tank unit next to an enemy and attack it. All the enemy units have been eliminated. You have completed the last of. Note that your tank unit can now move and attack again due to Admiral. The seaport and airfield have been captured. Congratulations with the victory in this operation. Upon completion of all main, you already know about the restoration of the aircraft units upon landing on a carrier or an airfield. Now it is time to use reinforcement to replace the lost strength of a unit. This can be done only at an airfield. Select the bomber, move it to the airfield, and land it. Select the HQ, select the reinforcement, press the reinforcement button. Close the HQ skills panel. Open the bomber's unit. The fighter unit has been reinforced. This is the end of the tutorial operation. To finish the operation, press the victory progress bar.